Hi everyone. So I'm recording this the next day because my computer decided that it wanted to have problems last night after I recorded my role play session. So my apologies for my attire, and if you hear my children in the background, so please bear with me on this. So what I wanted to do was to summarize what happened with my client during my role play. As you can tell, um, well, going back to the whole scenario, the whole session was actually supposed to be the second session. The first session we had kind of discussed I gave him homework to, kind of come up with two things that he really wanted to talk about because there was a lot of issues or a lot of problems that he was saying, with the financial obligations, and he was having the marital problem with his children, his work. So I really wanted him to focus on two specific things that he really wanted to try and, get help with, or that he needed help with. And as you can tell, he chose his family and work. So in that session, or in this last session, we focused specifically on his family because I felt like that was the foundation for what he needed the most help with. Um, so when it came to talking with him, um, he seemed like he was very isolated and withdrawn. The fact that he wasn't able to, he wasn't a whole lot of forthcoming, but at the same time, like he was trying to, communicate to me what he was wanting. It gave me the indication that, he was really wanting to try and to better, help out, be there for his family. There was parts in the role play where I was stumbling across my words, and I apologize for that. I was having a hard time focusing, and that's totally my fault. So my sincerest apologies for that. But when I was setting up the CBT session, I was following a specific session schedule, and it was outlined by Colley in a Department of Veteran Affairs presentation that I found. And um, the session setup was to be it's set up as a check-in, set the agenda, review homework, work agenda, assign homework, and then to summarize. So in the beginning, I did check in with him to see how he was doing. Um, I set the agenda for what the goals were, um, you know, based off of how he was feeling. Came back to his family. That he was feeling like he was depressed. I began to question him about that. The working agenda, I'm sorry, reviewing homework, the homework that I gave him, the two goals that he was supposed to, or the two things he wanted to focus on, which was family and work. So then we began to work on that agenda, working specifically on his family with the screaming kids, the communication with his wife, the fact that he wouldn't talk to his wife about what was going on, um, you know, assigning him homework um, came in, and that's where the activity scheduling happened. I felt that the best thing to do was, he felt overwhelmed by all of his children. So I encouraged him to try and just do individual time so then he can focus on just one child at a time instead of all five at once, because that's what he said was it was just very overwhelming. And he seemed to be really receptive towards that, which kind of went into his homework, trying to be able to, um, you know, trying to just have him see if he would try it. Um, so, one of the things that I feel was a challenge for me was when it came to the activity scheduling. I really wanted to try and incorporate his wife into it because his marital problem or his problems with his wife, his way he communicates. He really wants to talk to her, but he can't find ways to communicate with her. Um, Going at a slow pace is really essential for him because he's not going to be able to open up directly to her. So trying to be able to find those points to where he is able to openly ask for help in a way that he's comfortable with, to where she will feel that she's wanted, that he's trying to make an effort to build that relationship back, I felt was really essential. So during the, portion of discussing the activity scheduling, um, you know, trying to incorporate his wife into it, um, by, if he's having problems, you know, with being able to engage with his children, or if, maybe there was something he didn't know about his child that maybe, he can ask his wife. I thought that would be a good solution. I think where one of the challenges I had was I did include a brief pause. I'm very critiquing my own scenario, but I was trying to be as natural as possible. There was a brief pause where I was trying to incorporate his wife into that, and then that's when I came up with at the very end. That's when I felt his wife should be included. I think overall the session went really well. For it being the second session, I think in a collaborative method that I wanted to use, I think we did very well. Me being the worker, him being the client, he gave me the information I needed to help him begin to go down the journey he needs to where we can start working together. So he provided the information and I provided what I felt would help him begin to help problem solve and develop coping skills. Just because it is in the very beginning, helping to establish that helping relationship, and actively listening, just listening to him, asking questions, trying to figure out, why he feels this way and why he feels that way. Um, why he feels his wife wouldn't understand his feelings if he's asked talk to anybody else about how he felt or what he's been through. Um, there are questions that I probably should have asked during that session, um, but you know, it's it was only session two, so we're still new. um, what I would like, I think, for the practice effectiveness to see whether or not I have been effective in doing this would be if he came back the next week and actually had tried to do the activity scheduling um, at least once. Because it's a hard transition. It's a hard thing he's dealing with, especially with his depression, with his symptoms, feeling overwhelmed. So even if he tried it once, I think that is a big, um, I think that's a big step. Especially was he appeared optimistic, so that's really good. Um, I think that shows that he will be very optimistic and very motivated to continue on with this type of treatment, and be able to go into other types of things. Definitely, he self-talk will be something that we'll have to work on, because he did state, he did have ideas that talking, is a sign of weakness. He didn't want to feel that he was weak just by talking. So, self-talk is another method or another technique that will definitely be incorporated at some point. But, I think probably the biggest challenge is just for me is just trying to be in the moment and being able to think a little bit quicker, and just being maybe a little bit more ready for for what happens. So I would appreciate any feedback that my fellow peers have, good and bad. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to reading your guys' thoughts. Thank you very much, and it's been great working with you guys. Thanks.